Hello! Today I've got another review video for you, this time about a makeup product again, which is basically invisible. It's the Catrice Nude Illusion Loose Powder, transparent matte, which is obviously a loose powder. So yeah, basically this time I didn't actually film myself applying it because it's, you know, translucent. But I am wearing it right now. You can't really tell because again it's translucent powder. But yeah, it's just really mattifying and really nice and I really like it, so I thought it deserved a review. I think it was about 4 to 5 euros here in the Netherlands, I'm not sure because I forgot to actually write it down, sorry about that. But yeah, it's really cheap. I mean, Catrice is always cheap, so that helps. Yeah. And yeah, also I really didn't know, which is another reason why I really wanted to review this. I really didn't know that Catrice even had loose powder until I just randomly saw it in a store. I don't know if every store that sells Catrice has it, because some stuff only gets sold at bigger ones and I don't know. In any case, I didn't know they had it until I spotted it and I was like, oh, okay, could try that. And I really like it, so yeah, just in case other people are also still looking for a very cheap loose powder that's actually really good, then Catrice has one. Which probably spoils the entire review, but yeah. Again, I made a list as usual of the things I want to mention about this, but I'll just start with the packaging first. It's just really basic packaging. Yeah, it just has these little holes in it, so you don't have the entire powder just floating around. I usually keep it on the side, so I usually have a lot of powder in the lid, which is usually what I use for actually applying it to my face. So yeah, underneath my eyes I use a sort of large pointed brush, and on top of my eyes, on the eyelid and underneath my eyes. And I use just a regular large not a foundation brush, powder brush for the rest of my face. A little goes a long way. You don't need a lot of it, and it feels really silky smooth. I use a little bit more for my eyes, and yeah, just because I don't want my concealer to go, you know, into the creases and everything. But for the rest of my face, just dunk the brush in once, or in the lid of course, there's not too much on it. And just spread it on my face, and a little goes a long way. It feels really extremely smooth. By the way, I have no idea what the ingredients are, because it doesn't say anything, so I don't know what ingredient makes it feel so smooth, but it's really silky now, and I really like it. But it doesn't look unnatural, it doesn't look too matte, you know, it doesn't look basically dead. It still looks sort of like glowy and nice, so that's really nice. Yeah, oh, another thing is, yeah, I always make a list because otherwise I just forget stuff. It's really easy to use. I also have, like, in comparison, other loose powders, which are the type of powder if you take the lid off, then there's just a huge cloud of powder everywhere. Which is really annoying, and also when that one is actually in my makeup kit, the one that I'm talking about now. If you apply that to someone's face, then there will be, like, you know, just in a huge cloud of translucent powder for the next 5 minutes, which is rather unpleasant. This one doesn't do that. This one, you know, it is a loose powder, so it is a little bit more messy than a compact powder, obviously. But it's not extremely messy. It doesn't float around everywhere. It doesn't create a huge cloud of powder. It mostly just stays in place, and also when I apply it to my face, it just goes on there and then it just sits there, and you know, it's not all around me in the air for an hour. So yeah, that's really nice. I also have the feeling that you spill a lot less powder that way, because of course, you know, what comes out of the thing actually gets used for the most part. Yeah. Also, another thing I noticed about this is it's actually a trick that I once learned from my teacher at makeup school. To actually use translucent powder or loose powder underneath foundation if you have oily skin. And you're wearing a really rich foundation, this one is really moisturizing. For example, like I'm wearing the Yves Rocher Zero Default foundation right now. And it's actually way too nourishing for my skin. But then I use this stuff underneath it, just a little tiny bit, only on the places where you get oily the first, which in my case is most of my face basically. But yeah, in any case, just apply a little bit of that, then the foundation, and you know, just the little layer of powder between the skin and the foundation just sort of sucks up the oiliness and makes the foundation last longer without getting oily. So that's another thing you can do with this stuff, and that's also really nice because it's sort of like also works as a primer, of course, which is basically only you know, something for oily skin, but because if you have dry skin or normal skin, it's not really necessary. But it's nice that it's actually capable of doing that without, you know, making the foundation look weird. Yeah, and the last thing I have to say about it is that this bronzer and highlighter, blush, everything just applies really nicely over it. It doesn't go like weird or cakey or whatever. It just, you know, it's really easy to blend. It does, like, because it's so silky smooth, it does make it very easy to blend. But it's not so weirdly smooth, you know, like with some powders I've noticed that I have to apply a lot of blush on top of it because it somehow just fades away as soon as I start to blend it. With this powder, the color actually does stay on there. If you apply a blush or bronzer or whatever. But it does make it easier to blend, which is also really nice. So yeah, all in all, I'm just really pleased with this powder, obviously. I don't really have much more to say about it. If you have any other questions about the powder, then you can always ask me and I'll try to come up with a useful answer as usual. So yeah, I hope this review was useful to you. I hope you at least enjoyed watching it. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye! So the first thing I usually notice about any facial products is usually the scent. Yeah, basically this one doesn't